What's up, y'all? I got you back out in the garage to check out a piece of gear that I personally think is very useful. We've got another portable power station from Oupes. Now, if y'all aren't familiar, I just did a review on their 2400 watt unit. I'll leave a link up above if you want to check that one out. This one, as you can see, is their 1200 watt. It's the Exodus 1200, so exactly half of the power and a little less than half of the capacity. You got 992 watt hours with this one. You've also got a couple of fewer outputs on this one less AC output, and I believe one or two less USB-C. Don't quote me on that one, but I think it's a couple less USB outputs. And obviously it's a smaller form factor and lighter. This one's right at about 23 pounds. You've got a nice handle on the back here, so very easy to carry around. A lot of people, that 2400 may be too much for you. It's really nice for long-term outages or, long-term power source. This right here is very, very handy for if you just got a short-term outage. This thing will run stuff like fridges and workstations, computers, TVs, stuff like that all day long. So I'm not even going to bother showing you that on video. I'll leave some specs and you can check out their site to check that out. What I want to show you is stuff that really puts a drain on these things. Now, I won't repeat a bunch of the basic stuff that's really similar to the 2400, but just really quick, obviously you see you've got 10 outputs. You got the 320 volts. You've got two USB-C power delivery, 140 watters. Those are really, really nice. And you've got two quick charge 3.0 USB-A's on the outside. And then of course you've got a few 12 volt DC to round it out. You've got the car type plug, and then you've got two little barrel connectors, 12 volt, 10 amp. Now, just like with the 2400, you've got 4 different ways to charge this thing. You can do it with AC, 600 or 300 watts. You can choose there whether you want fast or slow. So AC alone, you can do AC plus solar, which it'll accept up to 240 watts with the solar. So that's big time power right there. That's 840 watts. You can get to 80% with that amount in 72 minutes. So that's really, really nice. Then of course they send you the car adapter so you can charge it with that. Or of course you can charge it with solar only, which would be obviously the most efficient way if you can keep up with what you're outputting. So just a quick example here. Here's my DeWalt battery charger. We'll plug that in there. And then once we get that rolling, these things actually take a decent little amount of power. So you can see it climbing on up. That's taking 44 watts there. So this would be something really common people might want to use one of these for. I can do that for 15 hours. I mean, this thing running, like I say, normal appliances like this is going to last many, many hours. We can plug in our O station here, battery charger, but I don't even have to take up one of those outlets there, the 110 outlets, 120 outlets. I can just use the power delivery. Now you got to turn that module on here. So press that button. Now you got power going there. You can probably see it come on. Now I'm still at 44 because I'm not charging anything. Well, it gave me 45, but if I put my light on to the side charger here, then we took a couple extra watts there. So 48, 47, 48. I mean, we hadn't touched the 1200 there, not even close. Let's do a cell phone on one of the quick chargers here. So we'll plug that in. We're at 47 now. Let's see what we jump to. So 52, 53. So up to 54 there, 53, 54. I can go 11 hours with this with no input. Now remember, I can be charging with solar or some other kind of source if I had access to it while I'm using it. And then I'll bring this big old fan in here too. This draws some pretty good watts. So this would be a good summertime use case. This is a pretty big size fan right here that, like I say, it draws some good power. So let's pump it on up to high. See what that brings us down to. So see, even a really nice big size fan, I mean, that's nothing. 1200 watts is actually a good bit of power until you start really working with stuff that draws some big amps like heaters and really big, heavy, powerful equipment. So speaking of that, this right here is one of these power stations' worst enemies, are these little small heaters that are just basically a coil that, just heats up. This right here is 1500 watts. So that already exceeds this 1200, but remember, this has a 1500 watt boost. I've actually not even tried this fan right here, but let me show you something a little bit milder first. So my heat gun here, this one draws 1200 on high. So I'll show you what happens here. Now that's probably going to exceed this just a little bit, but this will show you that 1500 watt boost isn't no joke. It really is a thing. So if I do low, we'll watch it climb on up here. to 575, 576 watts. Now, you notice what happened. We went from 11 hours to 1 hour. So stuff like this really takes a toll. When you're talking about, again, about fridges, TVs, modems, stuff like that, I mean, you're talking about many, many hours. But something like this that you might actually use, like you could just say this is a heater. This could fill in for one of these little heaters. This is something that, in my opinion, you would really, really use one of these for out camping or something like that. So watch what happens now. We'll bump it on up to the 1200. So that's going to exceed our 1200 watts. Let's see, we're drawing 1240 watts right there, and this thing hadn't skipped a beat. The fan might bump up a little bit here in a couple of seconds, but it don't skip a beat. So it definitely does go over that 1200 if you have to have it there. And I've run this thing, I've tested this already, and I've run it like this for many, many minutes and had no problem at all, absolutely no problem. But again, you'll see there, if we're on high with a heater, now granted, we've got some stuff running, a heater, a charger, my battery charger, my phone, all that, we would only get 47 minutes. But let's say we get rid of just this DeWalt charger. I mean, that takes us down below the 1200, bumps us up a little bit. So the more you use, obviously, the less time you're gonna have, especially if it's high draw stuff like this. This will be a good time to actually show y'all the backup ability of it too. It's got a UPS system, obviously. So when you've got it plugged in, it's just a bypass. Nothing's drawing from this. Everything I've got plugged in is bypassing straight to my outlet. So everything's running on the outlet right now, but if something were to come unplugged, you can see totally uninterrupted. It takes over no problem. You saw what happened to my hours, so that shows you that you're in bypass mode, so you'll know for sure. Watch what happens. So bypass mode, it's like basically endless because there is no draw. But again, if I had a power outage or something like that, boom, uninterrupted backup. Now they do actually have an app that you can use to control this, shows your battery levels, all your timers. You can adjust everything. You can have AC to time out if you want a timer on it, adjust all your timing. You can control either fast or regular charging on the AC. But if you don't want to use the app, there is a couple ways to get into the menu to toggle between 600 watt or 300 watt for charging AC. They're going to have some pretty good deals running on some of their stuff here in the next few days to a week. So I'll leave a link to their store, and I'll also leave a link down below to their stuff on Amazon. I almost forgot to do the test with this little 1500 watt heater, y'all, so we can really push the limits. Now, if we get some kind of failure on this, I'm definitely not holding that against us, because you can see there, it's 1500 watts, which is at the peak of their boost mode that they claim on this. So we're totally running on it right now. We got our AC on. So let's see what happens. We'll turn it on. Turn it on with no heat first. So that's no heat. That's just a fan. Obviously, that's nothing. So if we crank this heater on, and you can watch it. I mean, that baby instantly, it's climbing. I mean, climbing, buddy. 1490, boom, 1500. Oh, we aired out, so it couldn't take this 1500 watt heater, so that's good to know. Let's try it one more time. I don't think it matters how far I turn this thermostat knob. I think it's just gonna climb all the way. I don't think we're gonna be able to do this one. This is too much. Yeah, see, it clicks over. Once it goes over 15, I think it'll climb up to 15, but once it goes over 15, that's when it says, no, buddy, we told you that's the top. So that's a perfect example of why you need to be aware before you choose a power output on one of these. How much are you going to be drawing with whatever you've got running off of it? All right, I've got us a couple little outdoor scenarios here. I got us some really nice sun with these solar panels. These are the Oupes branded solar panels. They're actually really nice. Now, you don't have to use their brand. You can use pretty much any of it. It's got the right connectors and the right voltage, but these, you can see they got built-in little stands there, and the cable's got two different connectors so they can plug into a lot of stuff. This is their 240 watt one. I think they've got a 100 watt also, but you can see there, this is the cable coming from it. This is the one that uses the other type of connector, and then your barrel connector there plugs right in. Now, if you're familiar with solar panels out there these days, they give you that whatever watt wattage, but that's under absolute perfect condition. So normally you're not going to get there. As you can see, we're getting 186 watts of input right now, which is actually pretty good for a 240 watt panel. So I figured I'd set us up something normal out here. Obviously this DeWalt charger would be something a lot of people would use these for, especially outdoors if you're away from home doing some kind of little project. So we'll plug that on in and get it started. So that right there is drawing down, what was it, 40 something, wasn't it? Yeah, 44. So we're still inputting 186. So right now we're at a net gain still. And then we'll go ahead and plug the cell phone in, because that's something everybody's gonna probably have plugged in out there. So we got the cell phone charging now. It didn't even move it. It's still 44, 45. So still net gain so far. So then of course we're gonna need some transportation to get around to work on whatever it is we're working on. I've got the APAS M2 Pro out here. So if we need to recharge our battery, you can see I've got the battery plugged in. We'll start this up. We go from 44 to 61, looks like. Yeah, about 61. So still, we are at a net gain. Right now, we're running for free. We're charging all of this up literally for free. You can see my timer there. It's maxed out at 99 because it's never going to run out as long as the sun's out. And then we'll bump it on up a little bit more with the fan out here, because everybody needs a fan out here while they're working. So I pumped it on up to high. Let's see what it bumps us to now. So that did jump us on up. Of course, we know that fan draws some power. So we're at 216 right now, 215, 216. Now we're at a net loss. Of course, you can see we're inputting 184, taking out 215. But keep in mind, you know, some stuff's going to drop off. So when our batteries finish charging, we unplug that, boom, look what just happened there, y'all. We're at a net gain again. We're inputting more than we're drawing out. And then it's the same thing with the charger. Well, I did that already, but when the bike's done, y'all see what I mean. If you've got this solar panel and you're running it right and being very efficient, you can basically run for free with a lot of stuff. Now, there's one last thing I'm curious about. We saw that once you hit 15 or just a little over, it shuts it down, but I want to see just how close we can get. So I'm gonna start us off with the fan here, and then I want to start up this heat gun right here. That's a 1200 draw, so that's gonna put us close. So we're at 1300 basically right there, 1290 something. Let's plug in this DeWalt charger. That put us to 1315. So 1315, we're still rolling. There's really nothing else I can plug my phone. I don't really want to go chasing nothing else just to plug it in. I was really just curious to see. I think it's just like a hard cutoff at 15, and anything up to 15 you should be good to go with. But I think that gives you a pretty good idea of what this little power station is capable of. I think this one is very, very nice, very handy, really light, really portable. You know, if big one's out of budget, this one right here I think is right around 350 bucks. And if this is still out of budget or still more than you need, they have an Exodus 600 as well that's right at 100 bucks. And it's got two different capacity sizes, 600 watts. Now the smaller capacity size, like I say, is right at 100 bucks, and it's still got 110 volt outlets and everything. So this stuff is way more useful than you realize until you have one. So I will leave some affiliate links down below for y'all to check out to their site and to Amazon. I appreciate the heck out of all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all for supporting the channel. I got tons of really good stuff coming, so stay on the lookout. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.